So it's a Good Friday. Hello there, good afternoon, and welcome to The Pulse. We are coming to you live from our studios here in Accra. We are live on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421. You can also catch us this afternoon on GoTV channel 144. This is JoyNews, independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon on The Pulse, Ghanaians celebrate Easter without COVID-19 restrictions for the very first time in 2 years.
During a festive season like this, we like to take the opportunity to catch up with friends, family, bond, and then make merry and all that.
Our sights on COVID protocols as we hear from President Akufo-Addo, who is calling for a responsible celebration, notwithstanding the reversal of restrictions.
I appeal to each and every one of you, notwithstanding the lifting of the restrictions and the good news about infections, to continue to live responsibly and safely.
That's more. The Ghana Medical Association is concerned about the festivities becoming super spreaders of the COVID-19 pandemic. There's more coming your way shortly. Also this afternoon, the Ghana Police Service says it is taking steps to reduce carnage on our roads during this year's festivities.
Every movement of the buses to other parts of the country will have a spokesperson, and that spokesperson will be appointed by the passengers themselves.
There's more on this afternoon on The Pulse as we engage the National Road Safety Authority on measures being taken to contain the situation, and also elsewhere in the eastern region. The police has commenced investigations into circumstances leading to the death of 7 travelers on the Volta Lake. We'll hear from the Regional Security Council as they give us an update on the incident. I'm Blessed Sogah. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities, Digny, Low, Affordable, Safe Sanitation. Also, remember that this afternoon, The Pulse is streaming live on YouTube and all of your social media handles. You can find us. It's as JoyNews on TV, and also feel free to tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at Blessed Sogah. Always a pleasure serving you here on The Pulse. Thanks for choosing us. Well, so just before we talk about the Easter festivities, the Eastern Regional Police Command has started investigations into circumstances leading to an accident on the Volta Lake, leading to the death of 7 travelers. Now, according to eyewitnesses, the boat capsized on its way to the Toji area while moving from Germany to Havukope yesterday. Now, the Eastern Regional Police Relations Officer for the police, Ebenezer Tete, says those who sustained injuries are being treated as we speak.
This month, at about 18:00 hours, a passenger boat with 20 passengers traveling on the Volta Lake from Germany to Havukope Island community on the Drive Island capsized midway through the journey after they were caught up in a heavy storm. 7 persons are reported to have drowned, and these 7 persons include 5 female and 2 male. The ages of the deceased persons ranges between 31 to 60 years. 13 others who were on board the boat have since been rescued. The bodies of the deceased persons have since been deposited at the private mortuary on the island whilst investigations have commenced.
Well, so let's get more from Seth Kwame Echampong, who's the Eastern Regional Minister. He joins us now on the telephone lines now. Thank you so much, sir, for your time here on The Pulse. So what official briefings have you received from the police, and what updates can you share with us, giving the casualties and those who are being treated at the various health centers as we speak?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to yourselves and good afternoon to our fellow citizens. Happy Easter. You know, this is quite a solemn and reflective moment, but this has wakened us up, unfortunately, with this bad news. But that notwithstanding, we're still moving on, working very hard. Fortunate we've been able to recover some of the bodies that drowned. Like the reporter rightly said, yesterday happened to be the market day for Germany. Germany is in the Volta region, in the South Dai Assembly. And so, Afram River and the Volta River are tributaries. The Afram River is a tributary to the Volta River, the largest so far. And most of the people in the Afram Plains North neighborhood cross over to Germany and other areas of the Volta to also trade. So typical business people went by the canoes to the other side. Unfortunately, on their return, the storm was very heavy, and that affected those sailing back home. And primarily the communities that have had victims from these carnages, Many Copper and Have Copper, all our islands are now around our Dwarf Islands in the Kou Afram Plains North Assembly area. So this is what we have so far. Our disaster management organization is also on ground with some divers and local fisher folks who are experienced and are stronger, are still doing recovery. And so we are working with all of them to ensure that it works perfectly for us.
Right, and at the Regional Security Council level, what considerations are you making now, and what measures will you put in place to forestall such incidents from recurring?
So we asked the District Assembly to hold a DISEC and offer us some immediate information in respect of investigations. However, we're not doing this alone. I've communicated with my colleague from the Volta region, Honorable Dr. Yao Lecha, who has also asked the Saudai to also hold a DISEC meeting. We want to get and compare notes whilst we work with the technocrats who are helping us recover the bodies that got drowned, so we can all be on the same page. This is an unfortunate incident. What we need is marine police, who from time to time will be able to advise users of canoes on the lake, as and when the weather is being, directed, because the meteorological department will have more techno knowledge in respect of how the weather is predicted, and at the same time, what they can also foresee, judging from the storms. And so we would advise from our side. So far, that has been the suggestions. We will advise that we all begin to have some increase along the shores of the river banks where you have the various canoe ports lined up, so that they would be advised by the officers who will be recruited to manage the shores, so we don't have these incidents in the future.
Right. In spite of these measures, well, it's not confirmed as of now whether or not the tree stumps in the lake is accounting partly for the accident that was recorded. But some experts say that's one of the appropriate measures to take to make the waterway safe for transport. What measures are you putting in place in that regard?
The tree stumps already are out of the way. That they've been taking, most of them are being, harvested off the beds of the lake, so that access becomes so easy for commuters who use canoes to cross over. And so that is not a challenge. The real challenge is the storm. And this is something that over the years we experience. But as science is helping and enabling us to be able to foresee tomorrow, in the next few hours ahead of us, by virtue of instruments, we need to advise and admonish ourselves so that those who are going on would learn that giving the next 5 hours, giving the next 2 hours, stay off the lake, because there's going to be this storm which is going to sweep across the lake. If you dare go, you would have issues. Those who are experienced, this is still report that we are receiving, who knew that they cannot sail across, decided to wait. I'm sure some inexperience occurred here, but that is still an allegation. We are yet to get a full report from the two dissects, and then we'll compare our notes, and then we'll move on. That notwithstanding, like I said earlier, our disaster management teams on standby and are going around, commiserating with the bereaved families and also ensuring that we recover all those who got drowned in the lake.
And very finally, we do know that this Easter, the festivities would obviously increase traffic flow on this waterway. Are you mindful of that, and are you taking steps to avert, another accident on the lake?
We have a very comprehensive arrangement in respect of public safety. Every person who normally comes into this whole area where we are all converging for Easter will tell you that security is heightened. We know that currently water sports is also getting some attention in our neighborhood. So at also to a chairman from where you have more people who have some boats and would want to, ferry across, are all being monitored and shepherded so we don't have such accidents. So together with the Volta Lake Transport and the managers of the lake transport around, we are working in tandem with the Ghana Police Service to ensure that we avert all these challenges so we don't have such casualties on our hands. Because this is a first moment and people will merry-make, and you know what comes along as the merry-making goes on. People may sometimes, get excited, and out of excitement, if caution is not taken, some accidents may happen. And that is not what we pray for. That's not what we wish for. So our caution is to every holiday rebel, every person who is here to, have fun and take sightseeing and drive around and look around. We are asking that let's do so in defense. Have a defensive mentality. And if you are around and you find something happening which is untoward, get our attention. Our men are all over the place, and we will come to your aid and ensure that there's normalcy and there's public safety in the neighborhood. This is our humble appeal to everybody.
Honorable, I'm grateful that you've been able to spend some time with us. That's the Eastern Regional Minister, Honorable Seth Echampong. Well, he's been talking about Easter, and we're mindful of that as well. Ghanaians are celebrating the festivities without restrictions for the very first time in 2 years. The Christian celebration, which marks the death and resurrection of Christ, is often characterized by merrymaking and picnics. These fun activities were placed on hold ever since the outbreak of COVID-19. However, given the waning rate of infections, restrictions have finally been eased. In his televised Easter message, President Akufo-Addo, however, says safety protocols must be adhered to, notwithstanding the removal of the COVID-19 restrictions.
This Easter will be the first in 3 years that we're going to have the opportunity to celebrate fully, following the lifting of virtually all the restrictions government imposed to help win the fight against COVID-19. Our infection rate is low, with only 32 active cases recorded as of Monday, 11th April. There are no critical or severe cases, and our treatment centers are empty. I appeal to each and every one of you, notwithstanding the lifting of the restrictions and the good news about infections, to continue to live responsibly and safely so we can all play our part in building Mother Ghana.
Well, President Akufo-Addo there, obviously there's a need for us to break down the figures for you. Ghana is currently dealing with 32 active cases, and you have 1,086 confirmed cases so far, and we do know that our treatment centers are almost free, and that we don't have any severely ill person. And also, all treatment centers are empty, but there are obviously concerns about this Easter and the fact that this season could be a super spreader of the virus. Well, joining us via Zoom now is the General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Tantos. Thank you so much, sir, for finding time to speak to us, even in this festive season. So, first of all, what's the concern of the Ghana Medical Association and how do we work towards containing the figures, although it's waning? You'd have to, I'm sorry, Dr. Bayo, you'd have to unmute for us so we can hear the points that you're making. Right.
All right. Sorry about that. So thank you very much. And let me say happy Easter to yourselves in the studio and to all others who are watching us and to Ghanaians in general. The Medical Association want to congratulate all Ghanaians for helping us to stem the tide as far as COVID-19 is concerned. We are happy with our figures now and the state of affairs in the country. The only thing we want to say is that as we go about celebrating, we should still be a bit mindful. We are celebrating Easter for the first time in about 2 years without any restrictions, which is good news. But people should still take personal responsibility concerning their health. And in relation to COVID, we are asking that if you're having any symptoms, please make sure you use your mask before you go into a public space or into indoor event. If you're having a cough or any respiratory symptoms, report to the nearest facility so you'll be assessed. We are also aware that vaccination is still ongoing, and if you know that as of now you are not yet vaccinated, make use of the opportunity available at the various health centers and get yourself vaccinated. Some campaigns are coming up soon to wrap up our numbers well, and we'll ask all the unvaccinated persons to join. But let's enjoy our Easter for the first time without restrictions, but still mindful that even with just 3 cases in the country as of now, things can escalate. And therefore, let's protect ourselves well.
Well, we'll come to what we need to do, but correct me if I'm wrong. There are still divided opinions, actually, on the issue of herd immunity. Are we there as a nation? And should not be enough grounds for which we could say the figures may not go up anytime soon?
Well, in the scientific world, the issue of herd immunity is still one that is debatable. What percentage of your population need to be vaccinated to get herd immunity is debatable. The other thing is that there are people who are building some natural immunity from infections, undiagnosed infections. In our country, we are not very certain what the figures are. We know how many people we vaccinated, but we are not able to tell exactly how many people may have been exposed to this virus but were never diagnosed and may have developed some form of immunity. But to the extent that our numbers are low, it's good news, and that's the evidence that we need to celebrate. But like I said, critical thing is if there's an opportunity to take the vaccine, you should take it so that you contribute to us getting to what the science teach now, that the vaccinated people, even if they get this vaccine, this virus, are not likely to be critically ill or die from the virus.
The suggestion is that the president should have waited at least for the Easter period to be over before he goes ahead to reverse the restrictions. What's the position of the Ghana Medical Association on this?
Well, the GMA holds a very different view on that. The GMA is informed by the data that is available to us and by the science available to us that the timing of the release of these or lifting of these restrictions is appropriate. There's no justification to slow down economic activity, continue to restrict people's movement and gatherings and living of a normal life when your case count is just 2 and you are having vaccine uptake. And remember, the restrictions itself also pose a health challenge where people are having mental health issues. Our inability to associate and live a normal life has mental health concerns. And so if there's any opportunity for people to vent out, to get themselves excited, to celebrate, I don't think we should deny them of that. And I think our data as of now suggests that there is nothing wrong with us lifting these restrictions at the time the president did.
Well, the issue is this is a contagion, and the fact is once you have a confirmed case, at least there's that fear that you could have a further spread if these events are not checked and that we don't have the protocols in place. Should that not be of concern to us, particularly as we're in the season of Easter?
You know, in the previous years and months, our understanding of this disease was not as we have it today. Our preparation as a country was not as we have it today. The capacity of our health system to respond to a spike in cases was not as we have it now. So I think the point of view of the scientific community and the medical community is that we need to balance things. If we want to continue to impose these restrictions so people can, we can minimize any slight risk of spread, you have to look at the other side of the impact of that on our health system, on our economy, and on life in general. Like I mentioned, there is a lot of psychological and mental health issues when people cannot associate as they have been socialized to. And the burden of that disease moiety, which has been brought about by these COVID restrictions, has not been fully assessed yet. So in that background, I would say that if there is that risk, yes, that one or two cases may spread or may come up, but our systems are better positioned now to handle those cases. And so we should not deny people the opportunity to celebrate and associate.
Well, I don't intend to be fixated on the president's directives, but there's one on the easing of restrictions on nose masks. We do know that that's one of the most effective ways of checking the further spread of the virus. Even as we know that government is now relaxed in terms of policy on that directive, would you urge the public to go ahead and still make use of the nose mask?
I alluded to that in my earlier submission, and I did say that if you know that you need to take personal responsibility. If you know you have symptoms, and in parts of Asia, it is standard practice for them. If you have common cold, you have a flu, you don't leave your house without wearing a mask. Nobody is enforcing that in these countries, but it's become part of their culture. I would encourage that based on your own personal risk, the level of underlying comorbidities that you have and what a COVID infection will mean to you, you can advise yourself. But definitely anybody with respiratory symptoms of cough, of nasal discharge, if you are going into a public space, out of protection for the people you are going to associate with and love for those people, it will be prudent for you to be in a mask.
Government is still grappling with the challenge of achieving its target of immunizing over 20 million citizens. Let's talk about that as well. What's the take of the Ghana Medical Association on that? And do you foresee that we may miss that target once more of vaccinating such an amount of people?
Well, the GMA supports fully the call for vaccination, and we are always in support of that. In terms of us missing that target, I think it will be dependent on the attitude of Ghanaians. Initially, we had a challenge where these vaccines were not available in country. Now we have the vaccines available. In fact, some have even expired, and people are not willing to take these vaccines. And new ones have been brought in. I will appeal to people to take these vaccines. The Health Ministry instituted national days, immunization days across the country, spanning about a week to try and ramp up vaccination. Some people took the opportunity, others did not. Now there is going to be another opportunity. I know within the health circles that some national immunization days are coming up again towards the end of this month to try and ramp up the vaccination again. I will appeal to Ghanaians, whether we hit that target or not, will no longer depend on government, will no longer depend on policymakers, but it will depend on all of us encouraging each other to go for these vaccines because they are available now. So the hesitancy, the fear, and all the concerns people have about these vaccines should be gone, and we should go freely for the vaccines. Remember, if you are still unvaccinated, there are still some sort of restrictions on you. If you need to travel out of this country, you have challenges. If we were obeying the president's directive as was given, even mass gatherings, people who are unvaccinated are not expected there. It may be because of implementation challenges that is not being implemented to the letter. But I would encourage everybody, let's go for this vaccine. If we do that, then as a nation, we'll get to our target.
Also, it's become like a broken record, but we know and we're hearing of new variants as well. I mean, how far are we going to go hearing this sorts of news? The fact that we're having a new variant, now it's a new variant of the Omicron, and many of us are asking, when will this ever end?
It may never end, actually, and that is the sad news. It may never end. So we have to learn to live with this virus. And that's why life must go on. And the scientific community is no longer scared of new variants. When they come, they are quickly sequenced, assessed, and we look at their risk or their infectivity and their virulence, their ability to cause significant disease. These are the things we look out for. So new variants will keep coming as long as people are getting vaccines at different levels, as long as the whole world is not fully vaccinated, and some people are still serving as susceptible hosts to this virus, we'll keep getting new variants. So no one should panic at the hearing of a new variant. Rather, just make sure that as an individual, you are vaccinated, you are following all protocols that are in place at that time, and whenever we pick up a variant of concern, we will communicate to the public, and then we'll all know exactly how to behave.
Okay, then. We'd have to leave the conversation here, but I'm grateful that you've been able to speak to us. Dr. Titus.
If I can say a last word.
Right.
Yes. We are talking of COVID, but from the point of view of the Medical Association, we are worried about the road carnage, road traffic accidents. And I want to use this platform to appeal to all drivers and motorists in general to adhere to our various speed limits and road traffic regulations. I am aware we are picking up information where at various bus terminals, people are not getting buses to move to some destinations. This will naturally mean that drivers will be in the hurry to go and drop off passengers and come back trying to cash in. Please, if you are tired, please rest. Know the number of trips you can do at a safe level and still be conscious and alert to take decisions. Do not do several night trips and come back so tired and put people's life at risk. And I encourage the MTD to be on the road and ensure that our road traffic regulations are enforced to the letter. Thank you.
And I'm grateful that you're raising this point. In fact, the Ghana Police Service has been talking about that. They are indicating that steps are being taken to reduce carnage on our roads this Easter period. Now, any long-distance commercial bus leaving Accra to any other part of the country would have someone act as the spokesperson throughout the journey. His job will be to, among other things, to promote the driver in discipline conduct as well. And we know that this is part of the initiative that was launched at a VIP bus terminal by the Ghana Police Service earlier today. Director General of the Police Public Relations, DCOP Kwesi Fori, indicated that the service will ensure an incident-free Easter. He's been speaking to the media after the launch of the initiative today.
3 months ago, the Inspector General of Police and members of his administration paid a working visit to the Palm and Chroma Circle, visiting 8 unions, met 8 unions for the first time, and also extended his visit to the VIP transport yard. And following mutual discussion between the executives of the transport union and the IGP pledged that before many days, his administration will introduce passengers spokesperson project. Among other things, it means that every movement of the VIP buses to other parts of the country will have a spokesperson. And that spokesperson will be appointed by the passengers themselves. And the coordinating agency will be the VIP. And this is a prototype, an initiative being put forward to be extended to other transport organizations, movements, and unions. It's simply to stop road carnage and accidents on our roads. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the executives of the VIP, the media, this is the maiden lunch.
So that's aspects of the passenger spokesperson initiative. Well, let's find out the situation at the bus terminals as the country observes the Good Friday. Here are some travelers who have been speaking to JoyNews earlier today.
I'm from Kumasi. Live bread and buttered in Kumasi, but then work took me to Accra. So during festive season like this, we like to take the opportunity to catch up with friends, family, bond, and then make merry and all that. That's why I want to go relax, chill with friends, and then come back and hustle again.
I'm a pure Ahafo person. So it's about Easter. And in Ahafo, we have a lot of places that we'll go to. We have the Membo. So Mem, to be specific, is a place blessed with a lot of resources. And then this Easter, they are organizing a program on the Membo. So as an Ahafo indigene, I just can't stay back. I need to go back and promote Ahafo, promote Mem, so that as a new region, people will know that we have something better there. Like the calls they are doing, Mem is even better than Kwao. Just that it hasn't been hyped so much. So as I'm going for the Easter, I'll also ask people to come and visit Mem, visit Ahafo, and see the true things there. If they want to know, they can even go on Facebook, visit Mem Ahafo. They will know the tourist destinations and the festive occasions that goes on during these times. Yeah. When you talk about Mem, the first thing that comes to your mind is the Smonchament. And the second thing that comes to your mind is the forest. But there are mountains there. And on top of the mountains, there are buildings, there are swimming pools. And then it is a place where it's cosmopolitan. Everybody is there. And so, on these occasions, when you go, there are a lot of nice places to visit. There are musicians like Patapa and the rest. They come there to perform, and all over Brong Ahafo region, they come there to enjoy the occasion. So the forests are there. There are lakes there. There are a lot of opportunities for tourist investments also there. And the people are taking advantage of all this to promote it so that, you know, people will get jobs, the economy will grow, and the place will become bigger and better like Accra that we find. Source land, God has blessed Ahafo with people, with resources that we need to promote to develop the place. There will be a time, if we promote it well and then the investments go there, people go and see. Maybe we may not depend on government anymore.
Are you going there alone?
I'm going there with my family. My family will meet me there. There are a lot of people that I've told, and they are all meeting me there.
When is the family joining?
Oh, hopefully tonight we'll all meet. When I get to Kumasi, I just move on and go. And there is one thing. People haven't taken the pains to travel to the place. As you go, you see the forest. Nature is so beautiful over there. And you love nature. If you really love nature, visit Ahafo. You wouldn't even want to come back.
I must say this Easter is probably not like the usual Easter because it's the only Easter where I still have to work. So last year, because we were at home, probably you could take some rest and, you know, visit private places because the lockdown was for public places. But this time, I don't know. For me in particular, it caught me on, let me say, unprepared for Easter because I had a whole lot of things to do within this period. So even when I go home, I know I have a lot of things to do at work. We just have a lot of programs that we need to plan after Easter. And so this Easter is still going to be like work for me, right?
I'm here to see my mother off. She was going to Asankare for Easter holiday. So I just came and see her off so that we can have a successful journey.
Listen, I'm going to Kumasi. You know, it's Easter festive and I'm going to visit my parents and then have fun, that is all.
Are you going there alone?
Yes, please, I'm going there alone.
This fun must be fun, of course.
Very fun, yeah.
Well, so as you have fun, don't forget that as part of our Drive Safe campaign, we're urging you to watch all the road signs and also adhere to the safety protocols. So let's have a conversation on this, on road safety, reducing carnages in this festive period. Nanaya Akwada is Executive Director for the Bureau of Public Safety, joining us now via Zoom. And also Pearl Adusu JC is the PRO for the National Road Safety Authority. Thank you, gentlemen and lady, for joining us. Let me start off from you, Pearl. Obviously, we know that the National Road Safety Authority has initiated a number of measures to reduce carnage on our roads this season. What are some of the steps you're taking? And just share them with us as we continue with this conversation. Pearl, you'd have to unmute for us so we can hear the points that you're making.
All right.
Yes, Pearl, kindly go ahead. You were making a point about the initiatives you are rolling out to reduce carnages on our roads. So let's hear from Nanaya Akwada, obviously with us also to contribute to the conversation. But Nanaya Akwada, so the police says it's actually launched the passenger safety initiative that we know of, that has been launched already. What's your take, first of all, on that initiative, just as we talk about others that we're hearing of? Yes, Nanaya Akwada, let's hear you then.
Yeah, good afternoon to your viewers. I think we should encourage, we want to laud the police for this initiative. I mean, a country that is saddled with, so much fatalities, road fatalities, a year, we definitely need to throw in so much. Every little thing, every little idea that we have, we must throw it in, even if it doesn't bring in so much and it's going to bring in a little, we should appreciate it. I, in particular, while I want to laud the police for this action, I think that we need more in order to stem the tide. The numbers, the level of indiscipline, and the resultant fatalities and casualties that we experience on our roads on a daily basis, that accumulates into the annual statistics that we see in excess of 2,000. Just rolling out a program, passenger spokesperson, is inadequate to help us reach where we want to be. But let's laud them. What we will want to call out for is what kind of powers and how are they going to collaborate with these spokespersons in order to get our drivers, speed on the road.
And on what grounds particularly are you making this claim that the driver spokesperson initiative may not be adequate, particularly when we know that this borders on an approach of peer driving, if I should use that word in quote. And so you are able to report to the nearest police barrier, as we are getting indication from the Ghana Police Service on.
Well, passenger spokespersons have been around for a very long time. I mean, it's not like it's anything new. Yes, now we have named them. I have been a spokesperson, a self-appointed spokesperson on commercial vehicles. I was in KNUST on commercial vehicles for 4 years at a stretch. I used to borrow, and sometimes it gets very ugly. And there are times where I've threatened to even get down out of this vehicle because drivers were speeding and persistently being on the neck of drivers. You end up incurring the anger of the rest of the passengers. So if you are going to appoint a passenger spokesperson, I want to say, while it is not new, you must clearly define what sort of powers, the level of cooperation that you are going to give to these passengers on the buses. Police post or the passenger spokesperson have a right to call the police, while they are on the road, and then the police will have to get dispatchers to meet this vehicle at the nearest point or somewhere midway along the journey.
Okay, for you,
the campaign itself.
These are some of the, reasons for which you feel it will be difficult implementing. But let's see if the National Road Safety Authority also has some interventions. Now, just hold on for us. Also, Pearl is on. Pearl, earlier we're having challenges hearing you and the point you're making about the initiatives you're rolling out.
Hello.
The National Road Safety
Can
Authority.
you hear me now?
Yes, that's loud and clear. So help us understand the initiatives you're rolling out and how you're helping us reduce carnage on our roads this festive season. Yes, Pearl.
Thank you very much. What? Hello?
Yes, go ahead and make the point.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we launched our Easter program on Tuesday, whereby we have put some posters along the Accra-Nkoko road, reminding drivers that there is danger on the road if they become indisciplined on the road. We are cooperating or collaborating with the COVID-19 Trust Fund so that all road users, mindful of the fact that we are resuming Easter celebration after 2 years of suspension, will go and take COVID-19 vaccination so that in the merrymaking, they will not contract the disease, and also make sure they adhere to all road traffic regulations. We are also collaborating with the MTTD of Ghana Police Service to put men on the highways and in Kwewu. So we are in Kwewu currently with our people doing outreach at various communities, various centers, various sections of the environment of the Kwewu area. We are also in the Volta region doing same outreaches because we know these two regions, Eastern region and Volta region, they celebrate Easter a lot. And so the outreach is massive. We are doing outdoor broadcasting, talking to passengers, sharing flyers, so that they will be reminded of their responsibility to take care of themselves and other road users during this time. Our Eastern Regional team, our head office team, we are together in Eastern Region, directing road users what to do at a particular time and what not to do. We hope our collaboration with the MTTD will go a long way to minimize the crashes that we hear of after festivities.
Right.
Also, we have collaborated with UCL, GPRTU, ProTour to put out an app of passenger manifest to track vehicles so that when they are overspeeding, they stop at unnecessary places. We can track them and then caution them and maybe report them to the police for apprehension. These are some of the measures we've put in place.
So is it the case, and just for clarity, is it the case that you're targeting some centers and spots, or maybe, some corridors?
Yeah.
You're not doing a holistic approach in terms of dealing with the issue?
We are doing a holistic approach of ensuring that road crashes go down, but there are some specific places that are hotspots. You understand? So, as our men go, a lot of concentration will be at the hotspots, the places we know frequently crashes occur. We are particular around those places. But meanwhile, our men are all over, Western, Eastern, all the regions. But there are hotspots, for instance, like Apedra, like Bonsu Donshin, like the Aflau Road, where a lot of celebration goes on, Akosombo Road, Kumasi, and 6 in particular. And so a lot of concentration is on the hotspot, yet we have not forgotten other places of the country because the celebration is nationwide.
Pearl, just hold on for us. Nanaya Akoda is also with us. You are talking about the fact that the police initiative is not adequate. At least we've heard from the Road Safety Authority. That should complement efforts, isn't it?
Thank you. Just for the avoidance of doubt, what I've said about the passenger spokesperson, the initiative itself is not novel, but laudable. Its success will depend on police's own commitment and discipline. And that point must be driven home and driven home forcefully.
Right.
Literally, we have the police on the road, a greater portion of the police on the road, literally begging, motorists for money. We are going to see how, if I call in or I report an indisciplined driver, the outcomes is what is going to play out at the end of the day. And that is what is going to bring down the numbers. So we will need the police to be committed and show or exercise greater discipline in this initiative. So as for the Road Safety Authority, I think that I would want to hold myself about talking about their programs. They have been at it since time immemorial, rolling out programs upon programs whose outcome have been very, very, have not been that significant. So moving forward, we want to urge them that before they, they spend taxpayers' money to making posters and all those billboards and, holding campaigns and other things, they should be able to research further to be able to determine that this program, if successful, is going to give us X number of casualties or Y number and estimated this number of casualties from our statistics. Year on year, we've heard them, talk about programs and, projects and so many things with very, very little impact.
But at least now, they've made it clear that they're targeting hotspots. Is that not?
No, they've targeted. Look, my friend Engineer Adonting is now the acting Director General of the Road Safety Authority. What Pearl have come to say, she's not said anything new. I have heard these things over and over again. We're targeting the hotspots, we are doing that, But at the end of the day, we have very, very minimal impact. And I think that they are putting in so much effort, but it appears their efforts are not targeting the problem. Now, problem on our roads today are the road fatalities, which we want to bring the numbers down. We have mentioned speed. So if you are targeting the hotspots and the police are there, obviously the National Road Safety Authority cannot be effecting their arrests. But one would expect that their engagement with the police will actually drive home the point that the police are not helping them. You may target and do all the programs, but at the end of the day, if the police will be on the road at those hotspots and be extorting money from indisciplined drivers only for them to move on, to go and kill people, only for them to move on, to go and destroy state infrastructure, what do you call them, limit bridges and so on and so forth, then what is the role of the police on the road? So the National Road Safety may have good programs, but the impact has not been felt on the ground over time. And we suggest that we must ensure that the police who are there to help them on the road actually deliver mandates.
Okay, so Nanaya, let's hear from Pearl. Pearl, so you've heard the concern, the fact that, yes, you've staged numerous campaigns, we're not seeing the results. Pearl? Pearl, if you can hear me, I'm asking about the concern that we've seen so many interventions by the national.
Yeah, I heard you.
Yes,
I heard you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm saying that it is true. The concern is right, but if he will check the statistics, this first quarter we've made some gains. All the indicators, our injuries, our death rate, our overall crashes, commercial vehicles, all those indicators went down significantly. And so if we will be able to make such gains over the years to come, over the period, we will be seeing the reduction. The reduction doesn't come in a day. And he rightly said it. There is a saying that education without enforcement is entertainment. So we are drumming it down on the police that they should do tightened enforcement. And that is exactly what we are doing. We collaborated with them, and we are with them with their men. They just introduced Operation Parry and Operation Pi, whereby they have put cameras. It is in collaboration with us. They put cameras in vehicles and on motorbikes, and we'll be going around to detect offenders of road traffic regulation. We are with them to see that they do the good work to the latter. And so it will not be like the former. And also the good news and the new thing National Road Safety has done is that we just launched our information center that the public should get involved with. That you call a short code of 194, then you report any incident or infraction on the road for us. If a policeman is extorting money, we've gone to the IGP, we've told him we want to put to rest those traditional way of enforcing road traffic regulation laws. And so the police should be up and doing. And so we collaborated with them, we sat with them, and now they've started procuring cameras that they are putting in cars to detect offenders, and they will be prosecuted aside. And we'll make sure we follow them to make sure that they do the prosecution, arrest and the prosecution, so that people will learn and be deterred from doing the wrong things on the road. And so it is not the formal thing we have been doing campaign. Our campaign Stay Alive is embedded with the police administration's enforcement. And so we are making sure that after the campaign, crashes and its resultant death and injuries will be reduced. And we've started seeing it this first quarter. And so we will not rest on our OS, but make sure that we put in much effort with collaboration with the MTTD, so that it will continue to decrease for us to make the gains, sustain the gains we've made so far.
So very briefly, what's your caution to revelers out there in this Easter season as we wrap up on this conversation?
All that we are saying is that we should make safety our basic personal responsibility. Our own safety should be our personal responsibility. We should not look up to anybody, because honestly and frankly speaking, our system in the country is not that good. So if you want to rely on an agency or a duty bearer, you may kill yourself. When you die once, you will not have the chance of coming back. And so please, we should all obey the road safety rules and regulations. It is by only that we can prevent crashes. Where yesterday I took a number of a commercial driver. I was in the front seat. I was looking at him, and he was going at the stipulated speed limit. And I congratulate him. I'll make a report to my leadership or management, so that the next road safety award, he will be included. If we will all do that, we will go and reach our destination safely and stay alive. And so nobody should flout the rules and regulations. If police is there or not, road safety heightens its campaigns or not, we should all take our safety into our hands and save our own lives and other innocent lives.
All right then, Pel JCPRO for the National Road Safety Authority. Nanaya Akwada, I'll give you a minute to wrap up on this point.
Where we have reached, we do not need to depend on state agencies so much for our safety. And I think that is a very instructive it is important, because year on year, from where we sit, state agencies have grossly failed Ghanaians, the departed souls annually, talking of in excess of 2,000 lives a year. So Pearl nailed it right there for me. Moving forward, I think that we want motorists to kill the speed, because we have said that if we are able to kill the speed, we'll be able to more than halve the fatalities on the road. We need motorists to be considerate. I mean, in our driving, let's be considerate. Let's not fight over rights on the road too much. Let's avoid road rage. And lastly, let us speak up as passengers when we find ourselves on commercial vehicles.
I'm grateful. Nanaya Akwada, Executive Director for the Bureau of Public Safety. Thank you for joining us. This is The Pulse. Well, we're still keeping our eyes on Easter. Don't forget that a lot of Ghanaians have been engaged in a number of activities, and messages falling through from some prominent Ghanaians as well, including the Speaker of Parliament. We'll tell you all about these messages when we return from the break. Please stay. Also, you're welcome back to the Pulse now. Let's touch on some of the messages coming through on this occasion of Easter. Good Friday it is, but some persons, prominent Ghanaians, have started sharing their messages already. The Speaker of Parliament also has a message for Ghanaians, and we're bringing you excerpts of that statement right now, a post by Alban Kingsford Badwin on Facebook a while ago, and you have excerpts there indicating his message. It reads that the season of Easter is a reminder of the sacrifice of Christ's body on the cross of Calvary, as the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ mark the greatest pillar of the Christian faith. We as Christians are, of course, comforted with the knowledge of the gift of salvation, with the existence of Christianity mirrored by the demonstration of Jesus' love even at the hour of death, and the symbolic testament of his awe-inspiring altruistic act of service for humanity. May we be guided by this selfless gesture of love during this period. In our due reflection on the purpose of Easter, let us all aspire to emulate the lesson that this season presents in this embodiment of the three vital values. May the death of Christ symbolize the end of the past grievances. May his burial depict the interment of all the things retrogressive, and may his resurrection epitomize our commitment to serve in truth, love and peace. On behalf of the members of Parliament, the board and staff of the Parliamentary Service, I wish you all a happy Easter. Well, so those are the messages from the Speaker of Parliament, but we can now take you to the Ashanti region. The Regional Security Council there has requested a copy of the 2021 Public Safety and Crime Report that names the region as recording the highest number of murder cases. Chairperson of the Council, Simon Osei-Mensah, says the report will be studied by the Council for appropriate response. Nana Yaojima has more in the following report.
The 2021 Public Safety and Crime Report puts Ashanti region on top of over 200 murder cases recorded across the country in 2021. According to the report, the region recorded 23% of all homicides last year. Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah says a number of factors could drive the surge as cited in the report.
I've read that report, but the report was in detail, so I've requested the regional police commander to let me have the full report. But you see, Ashanti region, we have a peculiar problem because of its central location. We have several visiting and transiting passengers and people. So whatever happens, even the person is transiting and happens within Ashanti, it goes against Ashanti. There are several of them. Look at some of the Burkina Faso vehicles, some of them when they attack, it's still Ashanti. Once it's within our region, it's Ashanti. So we are going to digest the whole report at the next Regional Security Council meeting and see the measures that we put in place to at least resolve it. In general, anybody who will say the truth is that for some 5 years, 6 years now, the region has been very stable in terms of security.
The Regional Security Council has, however, mounted a strong defense for their performance in the year under review. Simon Osei-Mensah explains.
The way we've been able to control the security situation in the region should gladden their heart that we are still in control. Let's consider when we took over in 2017. We had problem with Agogo cattle herd menace. It was the first time. The introduction of Operation Cow Leg was in 1992. 25 years down the line, we were able to bring an end to it, even though it's not totally eradicated, but it's come down significantly. We have communal crashes, which was happening almost every year. It's we who have brought a finality to that problem. There were several. Highway robbery was common. At least we've not been able to remove it completely, but it's on the lower side now compared to previous one. These problems they are talking about, most of them are household problems. Maybe a wife and a husband, they have problem, then one is stabbed and the person dies. These ones are difficult to predict. They don't understand it. But the ones that are obvious, like highway robbery and all those things, at least we've been able to bring them down.
For JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
And now 70 communities in 3 districts are receiving intervention to deal with malnutrition among children. The improved feeding practices for the first 100 days is a practice or a project that targets improving feeding practices amongst women of reproductive age and children under 2 years. A baseline study on the project has established exclusive breastfeeding rates will need to be encouraged in dealing with malnutrition in project areas. Nanaya Ojima sat through a workshop with stakeholders from the project districts and found this report.
Statistics of malnutrition among children shows 19% of children are stunted and 11% are underweight. This is from the Ghana Demographic Health Report 2014. In the Sogah East District, one of the target communities for a project to deal with the problem, 35% of children under 5 years are malnourished, with children below 2 years at 26%. This has often resulted in ill health among children, affecting their education largely. District Health Director Dr. Justice Amu Ofori explains gaps in breastfeeding of the babies at birth are identified as immediate cause of malnourishment.
Exclusive breastfeeding is also a challenge based on this survey that has just been conducted. All this will amount to malnutrition because if we don't start it right, it means that at 6 months where we have to initiate complementary or supplementary feeding, we may not even do it because the mother doesn't have time. Is busy doing business or going to the farm, and the child is left alone. So obviously, what the end result is that we are likely to have malnutrition of any form with this child.
Under the project, households are educated to respond to feeding needs of babies, especially in the first 1,000 days. Selected households in the Sogah East, Kintampo South and Kasana districts are being supported by agriculture extension officers to farm rice crops to improve feeding of children. Efia Asokuya Yeboah is District Director of Agriculture at Kintampo South.
So our AES also go down to the communities to train farmers on how to cultivate the crop at the appropriate time, the various agronomic practices that they are supposed to do that will help the crop come out with a good yield. Not only are we helping in the production aspect, we are also looking at the utilization aspect because we have a unit called Women in Agric Development Unit. That is the unit mandated to help train farmers in the preparation of various food crops such that they will get nutrients in it.
In the next 5 years, malnutrition in the selected communities is expected to improve through the farming and consumption of the right crops and poultry and strict adherence to breastfeeding. Irabna Kwebadadzi is Health Technical Manager at World Vision Ghana.
The project seeks to achieve the improved feeding practices for children in their first 1,000 days. So when we say first 1,000 days, we mean the time that the woman was pregnant with the baby, so when the woman has delivered. And so we want to ensure that children have improved feeding practices. And this will solve the problem of children not being able to learn properly or getting proper nutritional status, and also getting their brains developed well when they are babies.
For JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
As the government plans to pursue digital initiatives for economic transformation and social integration, education experts are calling for support to enhance IT training and learning in schools. The experts believe such support will help students develop their abilities, create opportunities, and allow them to compete favorably with their counterparts in advanced countries. Speaking on the back of the 35th anniversary of the Sunni International School Administrative Director of the Institute, Jennifer Kumsen, says parents and guardians ought to invest and also monitor their awards engagement on the internet to achieve the intended purpose. There's more in the following report.
As students of Sunny International School celebrate 35 years of impactful education, it was a moment of cultural and talent display. The ceremony themed repositioning basic education for a holistic learning experience through digitalization, aimed to rally stakeholders to support investments in IT training for schools. The theme, according to the institution, is in line with government's plans to use technology to transform the governance of numerous areas of the economy. Jennifer Kumsen is the institution's administrative director.
Where we are heading to as the human race is a digitalized world. So for our children over here, we are driving home the message also to our parents to let them understand that we have reached the age where we are having homeworks online, we are submitting assignments online. So we need to prepare our children for the future. So our children will be properly equipped. Should they move outside the country or go to any first world country or any country of that sort, they will be able to rub shoulders with other kids.
Madam Kumsen also urged parents to keep an eye on their children's online activities, claiming children are readily exposed to inappropriate content.
Parents also need to keep tabs on what their children are doing so that they wouldn't be exposed. There's so much content out there that is not necessarily serving us. Other than that, they fall prey to all sorts of schemes online, these Ponzi schemes. Anybody can reach out to our kids, pedophiles, anybody at all. So we need to guard our children.
Augustus Mengel, an educationist, also encouraged stakeholders, particularly parents, to invest in the effort describing technology as tomorrow's world.
Now you realize that the teaching and learning process is very simple. That is going to be tomorrow's world. So if you don't help your child to come along with it, then you are making the child suffer. The child will suffer in the long run. So parents will have to invest to enable them go along with it.
Some students tell JoyNews why they want the digitization agenda to be embraced.
I used to search for works. Sometimes they give us works to go and search for, so we use this for homeworks.
With the internet, it helps us a lot, especially with our assignments and then project work. We do a lot of research through the internet.
I use it to search for homeworks and then videos that is concerning science and ICT, sometimes maths too.
Efwa Aprekua Boafo's report read to you.
Well, and management of Sunny International School obviously says it will pursue the digital agenda here in the country. Now, government is assuring school authorities of senior high schools in the Central Region that a lot is being done to address their infrastructural needs. Central Regional Minister Justina Marigodasan says government is not oblivious of the challenges the schools are grappling with, and they will rise to the occasion to help deal with them. The Regional Minister gave the assurances when she joined the MP for the Infantsman Girls' School, Ophelia Hayford, to donate desks to the school. There's more in the following report.
The population of Infantsman girls is hitting 6,000, with many girls pressing to be admitted to the school. But the school has infrastructural needs to grapple with in order for smooth academic takeoff. Based on the school's plea for support, the Central Regional Minister, Justina Marigodasan, and the MP for Infantsman, Ophelia Hayford, went to the aid of the school and gave them some desks for smooth academic takeoff. Central Regional Minister Justina Asan assured the schools in the region government was doing a lot to meet them at the point of their needs.
The headmistress called the MP and myself that she needed some desk to augment what she already has in the school. Thankfully, when I called the MP, she quickly put together some amount of money. I also supported, and we've been able to giving her 50 pieces of furniture to support her. She also told us she needed some beds. We've started the process of getting her some beds together with the MP, and I know very soon we'll come and do the presentation to her. Government is doing so well, a lot, and looking at the number of girls that has been placed here, it's quite a number, huge number. So the existing facilities will suffer. So there is a need for us to quickly come to her aid and support her to ease that pressure on her. When I listen to her and the number of students presently in the school, I think getting close to 6,000. It's quite a stress on her.
MP from Fantaman, Ophelia Mensah Hayford, says in as much as many people want to attend the grade A schools in the region, the standards have to be kept and not compromised.
All the good schools and the grade 1 schools are within Fantaman, the central region, and then the whole thing is about infrastructure. It makes learning easy and a serene environment. And I know everybody wants to come to Infantaman Girls and all the good schools within Infantaman. So we want to maintain our status, to maintain our standard, and then we want to make the children also feel comfortable. They can't be sharing desk while studying. So we thought of helping them get the very infrastructure that will make studying effective and then comfortable.
Headmistress of the school, Phyllis Atta Simpson, thanked the two for a good job done and asked for more to augment what they have.
We appealed to the minister and the MP, and thank God they brought us some mono desks, which we are going to use when the students return from the break. We have some interventions in the school. It's where we have the comfort that supports the needy girls, not all of them, some of them, or most of them. And then we also keep some of these items, we buy them, and then when the need be, we give it to the girls to use.
Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejenyakon, Cape Coast.
And it's been said many times that the church should be a catalyst for development and progress, especially in Ghana, where the 2021 census revealed that 21.9 million, representing 71.3% of the population, profess Christianity. Coordinator of a national development campaign dubbed Isaka Project, Maswell Inkum, says the church must foster development if Christians are equipped with the needed tools and knowledge to be agents of change.
Believe that refined human resources produce effective and efficient resource person. So if the person is coming from the church or an entrepreneur or a sports, whether whichever area you are coming from, when you are helped to discover yourself, we help you to develop these abilities and talent, then you become a refined and properly equipped and empowered human resource for society. So if the person finds himself in the business world, in the sports world, in the religious environment, he will not just do whatever he or she does just because he or she is doing it, but he does it with proper orientation and with skills and well-empowered personality. We believe that when the youth come and they make discoveries of themselves, it will first of all change the way they think about life. It will give them focus, and it will engage them so they can know the right way to channel their energies. And we believe that certain areas can create employment for people in the area of sports, in the area of entertainment. These people can be well developed and it can reduce the unemployment in the nation. We believe that when people are engaged in whatever area positively, it also reduces crime in society. So first of all, it will reduce employment. We will have a refined human resource that can channel their energies properly. It can also reduce crime. And the corporate world can also have young men and women who are focused, who are directional, who are purposeful, who know what they're about.
And you're still watching The Pulse here on the JoyNews channel. And that's all we have for you in this package of The Pulse. My name is Blessed Sogah. Log on to myjoyonline.com for more updates.